how is today different from like you or my age?
Well, when I was your age, I believe that white people were superior and above and better than everyone. So I've changed pretty dramatically over that. So my first engagement with the civil rights movement was to wonder why the black people didn't stay where they should be. So I was captured by race.
Okay, tell me more about the civil rights.
The civil rights movement came along when I was about your age. I was not aware of it until 1962, so I was a little older than you are. I was, 14 or 15 at that point, and I remember that James Meredith wanted to become a student at the University of Mississippi, which is about 60 miles from where I lived, and some of the other white boys and I were going to go over and keep him from going to the University of Mississippi. Our parents found out about it, and at least we used that as an excuse to say we weren't going to be able to do it. So I'm glad we did not do it because there was a white riot there at the University of Mississippi. That's the first time I remember strongly that the civil rights movement was coming, and at that point I was on the wrong side. What changed?
Yeah.
I started out as someone who believed that white people were the best. There were several things. One is I had a English teacher in high school who encouraged me to think differently. So she asked me to read a book called Cry the Beloved Country about South Africa. It really opened my eyes. And then when I was a sophomore in college, I went up to Brooklyn, New York to work in a church there. And it was the first time I'd ever worked with black people and saw them as real people. And so it really changed my life and the way I saw things. So when I came back to Helena, Arkansas, which you visited, I tried to get the white people in my church to see things that as I had seen them. I thought they were just ignorant and didn't know, and they were not very receptive. So that kind of opened my eyes that my life had been changed forever. I wasn't going to be able to go back to the way I used to think. So I'm hoping those experiences happen to everybody. So I think those are kind of conversions is what I would call them. So that was a big conversion for me.
Okay. What did you think about the schools?
I believe that at your age, when I was your age, I grew up in segregated schools. So black people were not allowed to go to school with me, and I was not allowed to go to school with them. That's changed pretty dramatically legally, although the segregation now is probably as much as it was when I was growing up. It's just not legal segregation like it was then. But at that time, by law, you could not go to school together.
Okay, did you participate in any of this?
I did not until I was in college. My first real participation was when I was a junior in college, and I protested a restaurant in Memphis that would not allow one of my black friends to come in to be served. And actually, we closed down the restaurant, so it's one of the few victories I participated in.
So what did...
And then the next year I participated in the garbage worker strike in Memphis when I was a student in college there. And the important part about that is that Martin Luther King was there, and that's the reason he came to Memphis, where he was assassinated. I was a part of that garbage strike that he came to support.
Okay, tell me a story about the most important lessons you've learned in life.
I think the most important lesson I've learned in life is that I was taught that black people were inferior and women were inferior and many other things like that by pretty decent people like my mother. Although my mother was a very strong woman, but she had believed that women need to step back from men. So I think one of the lessons I've learned is that just because you are a really good person doesn't mean you don't have to wrestle with some of those internal voices that capture your imagination and make you think in a certain way. So that's one of the big lessons I've learned.
Okay, do you think there's anything else you want to tell me?
I'm hoping your generation will be one that propels us forward and keeps us from going backward. I think we're at the age now where we could go backward, so I'm hoping we don't. And your mom and your dad are strong witnesses against that, and so I hope you will be one of those witnesses that will join with them and keep us going in the right direction.
All right, I hope so too.